Hey guys, so today we are talking about how to hold a conversation with anybody.
What's up guys, welcome back to Gents Lounge. I'm George, this is Blake. If you have not hit the subscribe button yet, please do that right now. It really helps us out. We are here every week talking about men's fashion, lifestyle, and everything in between. And today we were talking about a topic that I think every guy needs to know, and that is how to hold a conversation with anyone. So whether it's your boss, a new friend, someone you just met, a girl you're interested in, these tips will help you kind of keep the conversation going if you find yourself stumbling a little bit.
Yes, so for the most part, we get a lot of questions on how to talk to girls. And yes, that is very important. But we feel if you could hold a conversation with anybody, talking to a girl is gonna be even easier.
So first on the list is just be interested in the conversation. Like if you're talking to somebody, a lot of people kind of glaze over when somebody starts talking. Like you really have to listen to what the other person is saying to you so you can start to think of questions to ask them to keep the conversation going. Because if you don't listen to what they said and then you just, switch out of nowhere into a totally different topic, they're not gonna wanna keep talking to you.
Quick tip, guys. So I like to give eye contact with somebody so they know I'm actually interested, or I'll look down but with my ear towards them so they still feel like I'm in the conversation, Because I don't know about you, but I hate when people have their eyes like looking all around because pretty much, guys, I can feel when somebody wants to switch the topic or change,
right.
And it's so annoying, dude.
So yeah, if you can maintain eye contact and nod or even give like a quiet every now and then, it'll let the person know that you are engaged in the conversation and want to keep talking with them. So up next on the list is to ask open-ended questions. If you ask like yes or no questions, it's very easy for someone to just say yes or no and not keep a conversation going. Like you want to ask somebody like, where did you grow up? Or where'd you go to college? What'd you go to school for? What are you doing now, kind of thing. And it makes it a lot easier because they can actually give you a full answer and not just, yep.
So 100% I agree with this, and I feel like guys do this when they're talking to girls. So I'll see guys like when I'm walking around, they'll be like, oh, how's your day? And the girl says, good. I mean, maybe ask like, what are your plans for today? Like, what are you gonna be doing later on?
Where were you coming from?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
are you doing tonight?
Yes. So if you ask an open-ended question, gentlemen, you'll have a better chance at carrying on a conversation.
So up next on the list, if you get kind of lost in the conversation, but you still want to keep it going, just compliment them. Ask them about something they're wearing, or if somebody has a lapel pin on or a ring that looks interesting, ask them where they got it from or what it means or what it symbolizes. Because Blake has all these bracelets on and he could tell you a story about every single one of them if somebody were to ask him about it. So guys, this is actually another good fashion tip for you if you want people to talk to you. Kind of wear some interesting accessories and pieces that could be conversation starters, because Blake has a conversation about his watch, his bracelets, his wedding ring. They all have different meanings and different reasons of how he got them, how they came about, and they're all pretty interesting stories.
Yeah, I mean, also like if you're trying to carry a conversation with somebody that you don't know what to say, but that maybe they have good hair, they look fit, they're dressed nicely, maybe talk about something like that that they like. So like George's hair today, I feel like it looks good. So my conversation today would be like, hey dude, like what product are you using in your hair? But say it more like in your tone, that's very important, guys. Speak like how you would normally speak. Don't try to do that fake tone, that fake voice.
Yeah.
I think that's, guys, that's terrible. Speak how you would speak normally.
Yes, guys. I mean, just not even on the list, but it's a good point. Like you can kind of tell when people are just like going through these like lists of conversation starters they have in their head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this doesn't seem like you're genuinely interested in what I have to say. It just seems like you're following a list of someone that told you to ask about certain things. So yeah, that's not on the list, but it should be. So moving on. So up next on the list is something that I need to learn how to do actually a little bit more, is say less. Because I love to talk and I love to kind of explain things, even though it comes off as kind of dickish sometimes because I'm like a perfectionist. So if somebody will tell you, oh, I'm making you an old fashioned, and then I would probably go to tell you how I make an old fashioned, and sometimes it makes people feel like I'm telling them they're doing it wrong. Basically the point of this is to sometimes edit yourself down and know when to say a little bit less.
This is when less is more.
Yes, exactly. Okay guys, up next on the list is something that you kind of got to do before you even jump into any conversation, and that's try to be more interesting yourself. So, learn about things. Like I don't necessarily like football, but I know the 49ers are doing well right now. Like I know who's good in the league. I watch ESPN when I'm at the gym to get the highlights. So if somebody I meet talks about, football, I can be like, oh, the 49ers are doing well.
Exactly.
Like I don't necessarily have to know exactly like what they're talking about, but I can contribute at least a little bit to the conversation that makes it seem like I can be in that conversation.
So you don't have to be a jack of all trades, but if you know a little bit about something, it'll take you a long way in a conversation. Also, I feel like you should be more personal. So if you don't know a lot about things, maybe you could talk about like what's personal to you, maybe about your type of dog you have, the type of dog you want, the car you're driving, or like for me personally, I'm fixing up my car. So if I'm talking to a guy who I know is like automotive driven, I'm gonna be talking all about my car and the engine and what I'm doing to it, just to carry on conversation, and it's fun and it's easy for you.
The fact that you know a little bit about a lot of things makes it easier for you to hold a conversation with somebody that might not be as interesting as you.
Yes.
Like the worst part about it is when you're like talking about football or hockey and someone just goes, I don't like sports.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, shit, okay. Like, don't be that guy. At least, I can talk to you for a few seconds about a lot of things I don't like because I know a little bit about them, but I'm not gonna just be negative about it and say, I don't like that, and then just cut it off.
Yes. So George loves country, guys. I know jack shit about country music and I don't know anything about it, but every time we're in conversation and you bring it up or I bring it up, I try to just take it all in, and then when I'm not with George, I'm able to carry my own with a conversation on country music, dude.
Yeah, he knows Kenny Chestnut.
Kenny Chesney, dude. Chesney?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So up next on the list is to admit when you don't know something. I know a lot of guys don't like to feel dumb, and when somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh, have you had this whiskey before? Like, they're super excited about it, so you want to jump on board and be like,
dude, yes.
Yeah, I've tried it, but you really haven't. Just admit that you've never tried it and be like, oh, no, I've never tried that one. What does it taste like? Like, you could learn so much more about it by admitting that you don't know anything about it. Because when you act like you know,
that is so true.
People just assume that you know all the cool shit about it, and you'll never know.
I had a conversation one time with a guy who told me that he smoked cigars. So we had the conversation, then about 2 months later, I seen him, and I happen to have cigars. And I was like, hey, do you want to smoke a cigar? And he said, I kind of felt like I put him in a corner because I assumed he smoked cigars per our conversation.
Right.
Halfway into the cigar, he's throwing up. Come on. If you're not about it, guys, just admit when you don't know something or when it's just not your style,
Yeah,
because he was throwing up, bro. He was throwing up.
But for me, I don't ask people if they've heard of things to make them feel dumb. Like, I ask them because I legitimately like this stuff, and I want to be able to explain more to you. So if you say you don't know something, I'm almost more excited than if you have heard of it.
Yeah, or simply, hey, dude, do you like Philly cheesesteaks? Yeah, I love them. No, I don't. Because if you say yes, you do, I've never tried one. I'm gonna take you to have one. You know? Yeah. It's just, come on, just be yourself and be honest in the conversation.
Yes, guys. Okay, and last but not least, know when to cut your losses. Like, sometimes a conversation just isn't working. If you're on a date at a party, sometimes you just know, maybe this isn't the person I really want to talk to.
Sometimes,
so, if you move on, once you hit that, do not try to force it to be more than it is. Just realize when you've hit that limit, and I think you'll be much happier overall.
I think plain and simple, guys, sometimes we have haters and you have to just stop the conversation and move on.
Yeah, there's just sometimes you don't vibe with certain people. You can't get along with everybody.
Oh, yeah. I think there's a few of George's friends I haven't got along with, but...
Really? All right, guys, that pretty much wrapped up the video. I hope this was interesting for you. Remember, guys, when you want to hold a conversation with somebody, you want to make eye contact, you want to be engaged, you want to ask open-ended questions, you want to be a little bit more interesting, know a little bit about everything, and you want to admit what you don't know and know when it's time to cut it off and move on. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do that right now. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, give us a follow over at gentslounge, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers guys.